Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who the Hell Asked. Of course, here with myself, Byron, and Slade.
Hey, what's going on, Byron?
Nothing much. This week didn't start popping off till later this week, didn't it?
Yeah, it took a little bit of time, but we're finally here, and we finally got some news that's pretty worth covering.
Yeah,
So,
and
without further
let's
ado,
let's start with Splatoon, baby, because
yeah.
there
So,
yeah because
go
there
ahead.
is yeah because there is a Splatoon 3 Switch OLED to the shock of everybody.
That's correct. $360 edition of the console, which I believe is $50 more than the OLED usually were.
It is a $10 increase.
Yeah, it's a $10 increase because the OLED's usually $350. So,
Yep.
not too bad considering you're getting a themed deck and Joy-Cons as well as a Pro controller.
Yeah, the Pro controller, that will be I believe, $75, which is I think a $5 price increase from the original Pro controllers. And of course you have a carrying case as well that will run for $25. But yeah, this threw everybody off for a loop.
Yeah, because this is the first extra or special edition of the OLED they've done since they've announced and released the OLED, right?
Yes, and that, and of course, people are feverish because I think we may have briefly mentioned it last week that people were seeing that Nintendo had spent more money, double than 2019, on materials, and people were speculating, oh boy, new Switch or Switch Pro. No.
I don't think that's related to that. I think there is the possibility for some sort of hardware, not necessarily a new console, but maybe like different kinds of controllers or like something. I don't quite know.
Yeah, well,
This is just them taking the OLEDs that they have, touching them up a bit with some like details, and then putting
yeah,
them
the
out.
Joy-Cons don't look too bad. The graphics aren't as intrusive. Like it's way better than the Smash Bros. Joy-Cons.
And just because they put more money into R&D within the past few years doesn't necessarily mean that we see the result of that immediately. It could be another year or two off from seeing anything. So,
but yeah, looks really cool. Definitely an announcement that came out of nowhere. This will be coming out on the 26th, so about, I think, like maybe 2 weeks before the actual game comes out, which is interesting to have a special edition console released before the game, but that just seems to be the Nintendo way.
oh yeah. So, let's go ahead and move on to our next tidbit of news. GameStop sent out a memo in regards to layoffs coming up.
That's right. So the CFO, GameStop's chief financial officer, Mike Resupiro, is headed for the exit, and the gaming giant will lay off, quote, a number of employees as it strives for sustained profitability.
Yeah, so I have the exact memo for Matt Furlong here in front of me. Change will be constant as we evolve our commercial business and launch new products throughout our blockchain group. After investing heavily in personnel, technology, inventory, and supply chain infrastructure over the past 18 months, our focus is achieving sustained profitability. This means eliminating excess costs and operating with an intense owner's mentality. Gonna go ahead and skip a lot of the PR speak. After making more than 600 corporate hires in 2021 and the first half of 2022, we have a strong understanding of our transformation needs. This has positioned us to the right size headcount across several corporate departments. I want to emphasize corporate departments.
Keyword several corporate departments.
Today, we're making a number of reductions to keep things simple and operate nimbly with the right talent in place. We're going to be making a significant investment in our in-store leaders and field employees who play a critical role fulfilling the needs of our customers. These individuals are, in many respects, the heart of GameStop. We'll be sharing details regarding this investment in week. And like you said, CFO Mike Ruscipio is the one that is leaving, the chief financial officer. So
Yep.
basically, to make a long story short, there's going to be a lot of layoffs at a corporate level.
Yep.
So a lot of the blue collar jobs that involve people working behind desks and whatnot are going to be the focus of these layoffs.
Yep.
They don't want to. They want to improve the quality of life for their retail employees.
Yep.
A lot of investors in GameStop have been speculating that they're trying to do things like give the retail employees a livable wage as well as stock options.
Yeah.
That's something that investors voted on, because you got to remember the investors of GameStops are a bunch of fucking random people
Oh, yeah.
compared to like other companies where they're like rich millionaires, billionaires,
Yeah,
people with a lot of
yeah, if
money.
you want to know more about that whole shenanigans, we talked about that way back, I think in like episode 8, like early on in the show with Slade's magical MS Paint drawing skills. But there's one
Yeah,
other note though, Slade.
Hmm.
GameStop will be laying off people over at Game Informer, which is interesting.
yeah, that is correct. I think they're making a play to move away towards gaming media overall.
Yeah,
I
that could
feel
make
like
sense, yeah.
their focus is more towards, like they stated, their blockchain group, but obviously the supply chain infrastructure. They've done
Yeah.
a really good job, providing, really great computer parts at affordable prices and
Yeah,
whatnot.
they're trying.
Um,
We covered that as well. Them trying to get into the
they're literally one of the best in the market in
yeah,
regards
trying
to
to
that. It's
get into
actually
the
crazy.
PC market, which prices have been slowing, have been going down on that, which is a good thing for everybody.
Yes.
And
So,
I vomited in my mouth when I heard the word blockchain. I'm like,
I mean,
God
yeah,
no.
but that's just every gaming company is doing that, whether
Yeah.
it's gaming retail or game developers, software developers. It's just, unfortunately, that's the big fancy new thing that everybody wants to do.
Well, except Nintendo, but they'll get in on it in like 20 years when it's irrelevant.
Oh yeah. So, long story short, a lot of people view this as bad news because obviously a lot of corporate jobs are coming off the shelves. You also losing some people at Game Informer.
Yeah.
But I actually think that their efforts to improve the quality of life of their retail employees is actually commendable. And you would never see any other company do this.
Yeah, like obviously it's been a meme for years that the employees push everything under the goddamn sun on you at a GameStop. Like, oh, sign up for the rewards program. Oh, sign up for this, sign up for that. Buy this, buy that. Like it's you've seen the memes, I imagine.
Yeah,
Slade.
being a GameStop employee is not easy, people.
God no. Like salutes to anybody who's still at GameStop as a regular employee, or even to an extent a team leader, because like
All right, so
Godspeed. But
my next take on this, because I'm a little bit more knowledgeable with the GameStop situation, is these articles about the GameStop layoffs all started being published everywhere else. Is a distraction from the actual huge GameStop news. GameStop announced a 4-to-1 stock split, which is coming up on the 18th of July. So, what's a stock split? Basically, they take everybody's stocks in a form of a dividend, and they give everybody, you know, 4 times the amount of stocks that they had. In exchange, the price of a stock is divided by 4, which is why I said it in the form of a dividend. So, for example, if you own 30 stocks now, then by July 18th, you will own 120 stocks instead.
oh, that is interesting.
And naturally, if the price of the stock is $120, the price of the stock then becomes 40.
Yeah.
The reason why investors get incredibly excited for things like stock splits is because it kind of deals with like the human psyche. A lot of people don't like buying fractions of a share or a stock.
Yeah.
So by splitting the stock and distributing more of their available shares, people get to buy full shares for much cheaper prices, and a lot of investors get really crazy over stuff like that. But also in this case, it forces companies that are borrowing or shorting the stocks to buy back the stocks so they can provide those to the DTCC, because they gather all the stocks and then divide them back out.
Yeah.
With the correct number, so everybody gets 4 times the amount of shares.
Mhm.
So when you have a lot of shares that you have borrowed and then sold,
Yeah.
aka shorted, I covered that in that one video with EMS Paint. Great times, great
Yep.
times.
Yep.
It requires them to buy back the stocks, which is going to drive up the price pretty significantly. So a lot of people are expecting to see a Tesla jump.
Yeah,
But
it insert Slade vending in like hundreds of dollars in more GameStop stock.
oh yeah. So enough about the stock market talk. Let's go ahead and get into our last tidbit of news.
Well, two more tidbits, Slade. You're forgetting.
Oh, I'm forgetting the
yeah, you're
E3 news.
forgetting
Okay.
God of War.
No, I was talking about God of War. I forgot about E3.
Yeah, we'll get into that last one later. But yeah, God of War Ragnarok. It finally got a release date. People have been hankering. PlayStation fans have been hungering for a release date for months now, and we finally got it 2 days ago. It will be launching on November 9th. So Elden Ring and Kirby Forgotten Land have something to compete with for Game of the Year.
oh yeah. So this is really good that this game is still releasing this year.
Yep.
It shows that the people who developed this game at Santa Monica Studios are not cowards. They're not running away from Elden Ring like everybody else seemingly is.
Well, every major AAA game.
Yeah.
That's not like a Nintendo game. But
well, like I said, every other developer with big bang titles.
Yeah.
I know the delays are a large part because they want to make sure the game's perfect.
Yeah, like,
but also because I feel like they're all dodging. Let's be real.
Like on the surface, it's like, oh, they don't want to be the next Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
But also in the back of their minds, they're like, oh, fucking Elden Ring. But yeah, it'll be on PS5 and PS4 on November 9th, 2022. But guess what, Slade? In Sony fashion, we got the big, fat collector's editions.
Yes, we did. So, ignoring my take on collector's editions, because I think they're scams 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
You have the Yonar collection edition and the just the basic Ragnarok launch.
Yeah, God. So we have, of course, the launch edition, which you will get a Kratos Ryzen snow armor and Arteus Ryzen snow tunic. We have the digital deluxe edition, in which you get all that stuff. I believe all that stuff I just mentioned. The full game digital edition. You get the Dark Horse digital mini art book. You get a Kratos. You get a Kratos armor. You get a Atreus boy. I'm just gonna call him boy. Make it easier on myself. Yeah. Boy armor. You get some swords. You get an avatar set.
Well, they're handles and grips.
Oh yeah, handles.
Yeah, those are the Blades of Chaos and the. I always forget what the axe is called, even though I've played the game 3 times. I'm cringe.
Yeah, you get a PS4 theme and the original and the soundtrack with the big collector's edition. You get the Steelbook. You get 2 Invar twin carvings. You get a Dwarven dice set, which the dice actually look really cool, honestly. As someone who plays a lot of board games, those dice look cool. You get everything else mentioned already earlier in the digital deluxe edition. And finally, of course, the how do you fucking say the Slade?
Are you talking about Mjolnir?
Yeah, the Jotnar edition.
Mjolnir.
Yeah. That edition you get.
Are you talking about the hammer?
Yeah, you get the hammer.
Yeah, it's Mjolnir.
Thank you for that. You get a vinyl record, which is really interesting. That vinyl has become popular in the gaming space these days. You get a Falcon Baron Wolf pin set. You get a legendary ring. You get a different set of dice. You get a cloth map, which is interesting.
Yep.
And you get basically everything else in the other editions prior. So yeah, that's God of War Ragnarok. It's coming out soon. That's cool. And there's way too many fucking editions, and people are mad that basically everything that's not the launch edition is digital only.
Which is really sad.
Yeah. Like, in a way I get it, because like there's the PS5 digital, but like, why have a steelbook if you're not gonna have a game disc? Like, who maybe one of y'all can comment below. Is there somebody who collects steelbooks but doesn't want the game disc? Like, I guess maybe the digital only people, but like, make a collector's edition that doesn't have a steelbook case. I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one, I guess. So yeah, let's talk about probably the biggest news of the week, Slade. Which is E3, obviously, is coming back. The in-person event is going to be produced by ReedPop, who are the people behind PAX, GameIndustry.biz, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah, I think PAX and Comic-Con are probably the two largest things that they run. So,
PAX, New York Comic-Con, and Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah. So they got the big boys this time to come run this E3. So for all of our doom and gloom talk about E3 earlier this year, how this could be the end and whatnot, it appears that they are responding in a very big way.
Yeah, so the ESA are teaming up with ReedPop, veteran event producer companies. Obviously, they have run quite a number of successful conventions. Of course, PAX probably being, at least in the gaming mind space, the most popular one. But yeah, E3 2023 will welcome back publishers, developers, journalists, content creators, manufacturers, buyers, and licensors. Honestly, Slade, I'm gonna press X to doubt on that. Considering the landscape of everything, I'm still gonna be Mr. Doom and Gloom. I don't know how you feel. I'm still gonna be Mr. Doom and Gloom. Considering this,
it depends on which companies kind of sign up for E3. I think right now it's a bit too early to tell, but the reason why I brought up that they're responding in a big way, they don't get some of the largest, in fact, probably the largest convention developer. I don't think you realize how large shit like
they're
really
fucking
is.
huge.
Yeah, ReedPop are definitely very big time. I don't think they bring ReedPop along and have them run the event if they're not trying to respond in a big way.
Well, I know they're trying to respond. I'm just going to point out it may not work because of a multitude of factors. Obviously, game developers and like the big studios, they're doing their own events now throughout the year whenever they want, and they don't have to pay the thousands upon tens of thousands of potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars to have space at something like a physical like E3 event.
I still think it's too early to tell. Once we start hearing news about which companies are signing on with E3 and which ones aren't, that's when we can kind of have a stronger read on what people are going to think about in regards to the viability of E3's future.
Yeah, well, and speaking of, remember, Summer Game Fest is also going to be in person next year as well. So that's going to be really interesting to watch for, like who sides with ESA and ReedPop with E3, who sides with Jeff Keighley and whoever he has to run the physical event for Summer Game Fest, and who just goes off on their own. That's going to be interesting. I do think if they're going to spread it out throughout 5 days, I think they should have at least a couple days just for like media, content creators, press, etc. If they're gonna do public, which I'm pretty sure they're going to. I would be shocked if they didn't, but like have a couple days for the press, because I've heard from like some YouTubers and stuff that went to E3 prior to obviously COVID, that like it was a fucking shit show because they didn't have enough days for content creators, for press, media, all that stuff. Because you know they're gonna have like people back in, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like definitely have like a couple days, 2 or 3 days for the media, and then have like the 2 or 3 days left over for a mixed crowd, or just have that day be the public days. But I'm curious to see how this goes. I don't have much faith considering everybody's just off doing their own thing, but like who knows? Maybe ReedPop, because it has some connections in the gaming industry. Of course, a lot of companies do go to partake in PAX, especially PAX East. That's like their big crowning PAX event. But
oh yeah, the thing about ReedPop that I think would get a lot of developers excited in particular is they also got a lot of connections in regards to gaming websites and advertising in general.
Well, yeah,
So,
they own, as I mentioned earlier, GameIndustry.biz, which is a site that we have used before as a source, and it's a reputable gaming news website.
So that's the only reason I think ReedPop taking control of E3 is probably really huge news for E3 in general, and
it absolutely is.
It's only a good sign.
Yeah, it's only a good
again,
thing.
we could be doom and gloom about it, but in the end, for E3 lifers, or like people hoping that E3 continues to be a thing, this is great news.
Yeah, at least content creators and media won't be doxxed this time, hopefully.
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 Jesus, if it happens again, then there is no saving fucking E3.
Yeah, but like, I have way more faith in ReedPop than the ESA, because I haven't heard of like creators who have covered like PAX or New York Comic Con or Star Wars Celebration getting doxxed. So that's why I have faith in ReedPop. They haven't fucked up like that.
I am 100% with you.
But yeah, that was.
So I think that's everything we have for this week. As I said, it seemed like it was shaping up to be a pretty dead week, but then I think Wednesday and Thursday happened.
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday happened, and it became a banger week for news.
Oh yeah. So anyways, this has been Slade.
And this has been Byron. We will see you all next week for whatever the hell the gaming world brings us next. Bye-bye, everybody.